What is up? Matt Pratt here. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight I gotta get moving on this Porsche. I've been making little moves on it here and there. If you watch my last video, you'll actually see that I blocked down the quarters and I finally put some high build primer on there. I gotta do the same thing to the fenders. We put polyester primer on there. Now we're gonna block that down and then reprime those. The good news is that I got parts coming in for it. I've been kind of waiting on parts for it. That's why it's been taking me so long to get this thing done. The owner of the car is actually on his way to drop them off now. So let's get to work. Alright, before we get to work here, subscribe, share, comment, and like so I can keep you posted with everything that I do here. Alright, it is time to get rolling on this Porsche. I got all the panels set out the other day. We primed all this. It looks pretty good. I can't wait to block that out. All of our windows are loose. As you can see, quarter windows are out, windshield is out. Before I spray this or tape that up, I'm going to pull it out and put it somewhere safe, but for now it's good while I work on the car. First step to blocking this fender, we gotta get some guide coat on here, clean it off, get some guide coat, and I think if I lock these wheels, they're locked, that this thing is good enough to run a block nice and smooth over it. Alright, let's do this. So I just started blocking this down, and if I can get the light right, I can already see some unevenness. Now, sometimes you can block that out, but this little spot tells me right here, it's so hard to see in the light, but there's a little dark spot right there. That means it's just cutting way too close, and if I feel this, with it this smooth, I really don't like the way it feels. So it looks like I'm going to be blocking it down with a coarser grit sandpaper, and then doing pretty much what I did to those. I'm going to block it down and put a little bit of skim coat in there to even this out a little better, and then have to reprime it. Sucks. Hopefully that fender will at least be good enough. It was really tough body work with the welding and everything, how warped the metal was, but it is what it is. Definitely want to fix it now before I spray it. Alright, I started blocking this with the 80 grit, and I actually tried 180 first, and then I tried the 80 grit, and definitely doesn't look the way it felt earlier. So I'm just going to keep blocking it down until I get it to feel the way I want. A lot of times you put so many different fillers over each other, you kind of lose the feeling because the texture becomes so different. So it's always nice to spray something like a polyester primer or a spray filler over top of it, just so you can get a better feel. I thought I was going to be able to like block it out. I knew it didn't feel perfect, that this stuff was going to fill all that, but apparently didn't. So here we are, really exposing some other stuff underneath of there. So I mean, this looks like a primer or something that I had over top of it before I put this on it, so that's kind of weird. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep blocking this down a little bit, and then I'm going to possibly skim this whole area and block it down again, because it needs something a little thicker, you know, than spray filler. All right. So I just put a layer of skim coat on there. Looks like a lot, but it's like a really thin layer. This area was pretty bad. This area wasn't too hateful, but the whole thing, I'm gonna block it all down with single strokes, and hopefully I can get this whole side to be level. I mean, like I said, it was just a little bit off, but it is pretty much the eye-catching part of the fender. So when people look at this car, they want to look down it. I mean, that thing's got to be straight as an arrow, so I'm not taking any chances on it. Block it completely out. Hopefully I like it the second time I block it, and then we can just prime this sucker before we block it for paint. So while I got this drying, I'm going to guide coat this thing. I'm going to clean a little dot off here and we're going to block this down. But this, I don't know, it feels pretty good, I want to say, but maybe in this area it feels a little different. So I don't know, we're gonna block it down and see what it does. I mean, if I'm priming one, I might as well block this down just with the plan to prime this one too. So all right. Alright, so this is what it looks like when it's nice and evenly blocked. There isn't any issue with the mud work. This feels really good. Might have like a high spot here, but honestly it's probably not noticeable. In this area right here is usually where you get some waves, because they cut the fender like this and they welded this piece on there. So right here is where all the waves should be at, but it feels pretty good. I think I have like a little high spot here, but it might come out in this sprayable filler like it's supposed to, unlike that fender did. So we're about to block this area too. I just wanted to show you what an area evenly blocked looks like. No high spots, no unevenness, no low spots, dark spots, bright spots, clear spots, whatever. Just nice, even, decent body work. Alright, so let's knock out this front. Alright, so blocked it all down. I was pretty happy with this area except for a little high spot. I ended up taking that out, but this area just still didn't seem right. From here up should be good. From here down, I think was the last issue that I had. So cool. I'm gonna pull this fender back off, bring that fender back on, and finish blocking the whole top surface of that. that probably looks like a mess, and it feels a lot better than it looks, I'll tell you that. But I just went through and just took out every little chance of a wave and so on, and fortunately it looks like this. But just wait till we put some primer on it and we got a little bit of a shine to it. That's really going to tell what this panel is going to look like. So believe it or not, my hand says it feels really good, so a lot better than it did. So all right, let's get these loaded up into the booth so we can tape them up and prime them. All right, so I got everything in the booth last night, and I was gonna prime these, but I actually had a really crazy delivery, and we're gonna go over that in a second. I'll give you a sneak peek. So what we're gonna do is tape these up and get some primer on these, and then we can go over that little special delivery I have out there. It's kind of good, kind of bad. I'll discuss that in a little bit. All right, we are taped up pretty good. I got a little bit of a rolled edge right here. As the fender rolls over, that's where I want to break off my primer line. Everything looks pretty good, nice and solid. Wow, this looks like a mess, but hopefully it's flat, and we'll see when I first lay that first coat of primer on. The shine will tell me if it's wavy or not. so the fenders are in 3 coats of high build U-POL primer. I use U-POL primer because it works really well. I've had friends that have been using it for years in professional shops, and their prices aren't bad at all. It's a decent primer. We've never had any major issues with them whatsoever, and you can get it off Amazon, which is great. It's pretty convenient. So, all right, 3 coats of U-POL high build primer. As you can see, this one looks really good. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to block that and be ready for paint. This one still has a little bit of trickiness through there. It's kind of hard to see on camera. And then a little bit here, so it's close. It's not 100%, but it's definitely 100% better. I'm probably gonna end up blocking this down, leaving it just the way it is, leave it all taped up and everything. Blocking this area thoroughly, and then shooting primer on it again, hopefully the last time. So good. All right, so let's talk about this Porsche a little bit. The owner of the Porsche dropped off parts last night, and the parts that he dropped off are great parts. Let's go over them real quick. So, got a badass wing, bumper. Earlier in the video, those are the side skirts he dropped off. He dropped off the rears to them, and actually more side skirts. Rear bumper, also has a front bumper coming. The sucky part is that I was actually gaining momentum on this Porsche and getting it done. But now, all these parts obviously need attention and need to be like fitted up before paint, and that's definitely going to set me back a week. So, well, let's take all these parts and fit them on the car just so we can mock this thing up so we can see what it's going to look like. Look at that, just the few small aftermarket parts can make this thing look completely different. I mean, that wing is just right. I mean, it does seem like kind of big, but Porsches can get away with wings that are that big. That's just their style, you know. But, you know, I come really close to looking at this, and if this were to actually sit on the hinges, you know, where the gaps are supposed to be at, come back here, and it's actually short. You can see how short it is from the edge of the trunk. So I think this trunk might be for a newer Porsche. I know it is for a different Porsche. This is a 911. I don't know exactly which one this is for, but I know Porsches can be interchangeable with their parts. But sometimes if it's a newer Porsche, they might have shortened up the back of this. I'll have to see what the owner wants me to do. There is a good chance I could chop this off and mold it onto the original trunk. But we'll have to see. We'll have to compare the pricing and everything to see if that's even worth it. This rear bumper, I mean, matches up great. But one of the things I've noticed is this is how the old bumper mounts up. It's got a similar mount behind here. And if we come over here to the rear bumper that goes along with that corner piece, you can see we have a totally different looking bracket here. Looks like something actually sandwiches it here to clamp. So I don't know how that's going to work. We're going to have to look into some different bracketry for that. So our side skirts, they look good. I like the style, but if we get up close, the fitment is really tough. I mean, if I really were to make that fit, it pulls the bottom out. Good thing is that they're fiberglass, and all I have to do is cut it up and re-glass it, and I think I can make them fit like factory. So, but that's definitely what it needed, because when you take all this stuff off, what we have under here is these holes, and got a huge hole here. I think it goes to the rear arm, and we have a bunch of, a jack point that's pretty ugly, and we have a bunch of oil lines right here that I assume go to an oil cooler. So, or they're coolant lines that help cool the motor. Anyways, I had such good momentum on this thing, but it is what it is. It just, prolongs the job a little bit. We have pretty much missed summer. We might be able to finish this thing up and cruise around in it with a little bit of fall left, but I guess we're gonna see. So, well, that's enough Porsche footage for now. I'm gonna go and edit this. After editing that, I'm gonna have to get to work on this thing, start knocking out, the side skirts, the rear bumper and everything, and get an answer on this trunk. Tune in next week for more Porsche footage. In the meantime, I'll put some links at the end of this video to get caught up with what I've done to this Porsche already. You don't want to miss any of that stuff. Anyways, subscribe, share, comment, like, all that other stuff, and I'll see you guys next week.